Hi, everybody. My name is Paula Rowe, and I just want to welcome you to Global Unified Breathing. I am also the founder of Solo Awakening Project. But right now, for all of us, we're going to talk about breathing. And first of all, what I'd like to do is just take a moment and unify. So, if I could ask you to please right now sit back and relax, take a breath. If possible, close your eyes. And I'm just going to guide us through a few unification breath process. And then we'll come back and we'll talk some more about breathing. So, if you close your eyes and just relax, hear my words. Breathe into your heart. Bringing in to the heart space as much oxygen, which means very deeply, a deep breath. And quickly, I'm going to say an invocation. Beloved Mother, Father God, bring your divine love and protection and join us as one cohesive energy of expanding consciousness. Help us to remember that we are unified, beings of great light, reacquainting ourselves with that flame within. Take a deep breath and feel your breath, your inhale, fill your entire body. And on the exhale, letting go of any tension, any stress, just telling your body, let it go, let it go. Reacquainting ourselves with this flame within our heart. When we breathe in, the oxygen surrounds the chambers of the heart, massaging the heart, opening and expanding the heart. With great love, we ask for the flame within our heart to be ignited, to remember the unification that we all really know, that we are one. We have forgotten. We call in the great cosmic Godhead in action with us today, here and now. And so it is. I am that I am. Very important words for unification. Take another really deep breath and stay in the space. And I'm just going to take a few more minutes for you to listen to my voice, breathing in deeply, exhaling fully all the way. So breathing in through the mouth, breathing and exhaling out through the mouth. Breathing in divine love. Breathing out divine love. Breathing in divine light. Breathing out divine light. A few more breaths, letting go, being present to the now breath, here and now. Couple more. When you're ready, be present to this moment, to this conversation, to this glorious gift of our breath. And I'm going to tell you a little story. For myself, how I was introduced to my breath was I was in a car accident, and it was 1989. And it was closed head injury that I walked away with, which meant I had no blood, no apparent injuries to anybody. But I had hit my head. And I felt fine after the accident. I felt like everything was normal and my car was totaled. And when the police came to pick me up and drop me off, I started to feel a little shaky. And within the next 24 hours, my memory was just about wiped. I recognized people. The part of my memory that was gone is I didn't know where I lived. I didn't know when I sat down at a table to eat. Did I eat with the fork, the knife, or the spoon? I was unfamiliar with the vicinity outside the window of the home. And the paranoia with that type of injury, it was 4th degree closed head, started to create a world within my brain that made me think that I was in a foreign and very strange place. And I controlled and did the act as if. But when I finally went and tried to receive help for this, when they tell you with closed head injury, 3 years of cognitive treatment, wherever you're at that time, that's pretty much where you'll stay for the rest of your life. And it did not sound good. It sounded like I had no idea what was going to be left of me. And it was kind of a shock, but I still remember getting in my car and leaving the house, but not knowing how to get home and not knowing who to call and going to a phone booth and having to ask someone to call a number on a piece of paper. Thank God someone gave me a piece of paper because I got lost, and I really decided that it was best to stay at home. I had already been meditating for a while, and I was praying about, is this really what was going to happen to me? Is this really? And so in order for me to be a passenger in a car, I needed to lay down in the back seat because I had that peripheral vision thing going on where everything looked like it was coming at me and slamming up against me. So I went to Florida, and when I was in Florida, I made it all the way there in the back seat of the car. Someone was driving, and somebody threw a book in my lap and said, maybe this will help you. And I'm like, oh, I can read. Oh, great. I read that book. That book was called Rebirthing in the New Age by Sandra and Leonard Orr. Sandra Ray and Leonard Orr. I don't know if I got the information, but I knew the feeling that I was having when I finished that book. And it made me believe that, oh, they're talking about my breath healing me, my breath awakening me, my breath having this power. I had never heard of such a thing, but I got up and I went to the phone on the wall. And I called the number in the back of the book, and I said, I'd really like to experience this. Can somebody please tell me where I can find out more? And the woman said to me, will be in Chicago this weekend. We're doing a 4-day intensive, and here I am in Florida. So I had my friend put me in the back of the seat of the car and drive me back to Michigan, which is where I was at the time. And I took a paper map and I mapped my way and put that map on the passenger seat, and I drove myself to Chicago. I don't think I drove the car, though, because I was really meant to be there. For me, it was my next step in life. It was my recovery of the part of my brain that was damaged, but it was also the entry into my pathway into understanding the breath and really allowing myself to receive this information. So in that 4-day experience, by the time we got to the actual breathwork portion of the event, so much information had come forward about this power and the ability to understand that we're repeating times in our life that had happened earlier on, and we're controlling a lot of those events by the way that we breathe. And this was a kind of a foreign concept for me back then. I was not aware of repeating patterns and stresses and traumas over and over as a result of things that happened when you were younger. And I was learning that when we were younger, when something came about in our life, we would either hold our breath or expand our breath. And it was a way, because of most of us being born in a hospital where the cord was cut and the baby is not being told, we're getting ready to cut the cord. Make sure you know to breathe out of your mouth and your nose. The baby's been breathing 9 months in the womb through the cord. And the shock and trauma of that alone, when they were explaining this, I was like, oh, wow. And so where's all that energy go is what the bottom line was. Where does all that energy go? Well, it sits in the bottom of our cells, they were telling us. And so now I'm involved in my first session in a group of 200 people from all over the world. And some people we were really kind of close to each other. And I immediately went somewhere. But I'll tell you my first experience, because I think it was a setup for me to be here today. And I'm going to try to make it brief, but I went to the other side right before I entered into this realm. And I had a conversation about what was about to occur in this lifetime. And so when I came to, I was laughing and giggling so hard about the whole experience, like that was the biggest joy ever. And everyone around me was crying, and some people were freaking out, and some people were laughing, but it was quite incredible. And I thought to myself, it tapped into something in my brain. Something, is that what happened? I wasn't sure. But hence it set me on the pathway to look into more of this power behind the breath. And so I decided to find a breathworker like me. And I ended up driving 2 hours every week and breathed with somebody who was certified. That totally changed how I expanded into life. And I did not want to become a breathworker. I just wanted to heal my brain. I just wanted to go back and do what I was doing before. And my life kind of went, oof, the door that I walked through expanded and it got bigger. And the amount of fear that's processed through the breath that I had been holding was so freeing to be aware that that was gone, that it really kind of set me on a path where new things happen so fast. And when in my meditation, I ask for answers to things, and I would see them being written on a chalkboard. And so I followed this, and eventually I became a breath worker, and I became totally immersed and in love with the power and now the understanding of why this gift in all of us is there waiting for us to discover, to fall in love with. It is the connection to the beloved. It is the connection to the mighty I Am presence. It is the energy within us that connects us to source. And our breath is always traveling around the heart chambers, massaging, awakening, asking us, open your heart. Now, some of us, this is so, it's like scary to breathe. I have people that are terrified of breathing. The power is there for us to heal. All my memory came back. All my abilities came back as far as what I, wanted to do. But I said to myself, if this could do for me, then why wouldn't I become a breath worker? And it took me 2.5 years, and I got certified. And I started discovering advanced breathing and breathing every single day, advanced. Something happened. And I started to realize that Source, God, was breathing me. I wasn't doing it. Sorry if I get emotional about that, but it's really an incredible experience because you feel that connection. And now with the energy that's streaming in to our planet, that pure light, crystalline diamond light energy, I mean, we are capable of holding that within our body. And when we do the work to release, there was much work for me to be done. I had many things happen in my life when I was younger and in my teenage years that were quite horrific. And those fears and those traumas, my breath took, and I let them go. And I understood that it was my choice to be free of them or to be imprisoned by them. And I chose freedom over and over. I chose sovereignty through the breath. So a couple things that I want you to know is that it is how my first business, Soul Awakening Project, please go to the website, soulawakeningproject.com, was birthed out of breathing. And I would wake up every morning and I would see these initials, SAP, SAP. And I would say, I wonder what that means. And then one day I was writing and it got written out across the page. And I went, oh, it sounds interesting. Maybe I can create a business out of that. And little did I know, years later, I was the project. It was me that was going to be the project, putting myself through all these releases. And so the breath will lead if you will allow it, but to be breathed and to be aware that we can unify through the breath, sitting right there in your home, breathing, say, a specific color, the violet flame. It's a flame of purification and transmutation that we use on this planet to annihilate and be rid of energies within our body and around us that no longer serve anything at all. This can be breathed in and released out. And when we are finally breathing together, unifying, we can send this energy out. The breath is quite powerful. It is oneness. Spirit is the breath, and the breath is spirit. It was like, I just like And I got the realization God wants to breathe you, and He wants you to know that you are part of Him, and there's nothing that you can ever do to take that away. Nothing, no matter what your behavior and action. If you choose the power to be in touch with the great Godhead, then it will happen for you. Of course, we have been in a planet of free will. We are now, if you so choose, in divine will. And divine will means everything changes for the best for all, not just a few. That right there, that premise changes everything. Now the breath will lead into places, and that's what my work with you here is. I have a program setting up that every week I'm going to talk to you about how I got to where I am. And I'm not going to become somebody who has a different way to breathe. I'm going to teach you what I've been taught. And I've had a few different teachers, but everything is always led to the source, to within the heart, what needs to open and release the belief systems that are holding you down, holding you back, that are the nightmares of reoccurring things. And why am I doing what I'm doing? And why can't I let go of? And what is that all about? So the breath first entered into a very profound time for me of divine forgiveness. This was a forgiveness beyond anything I ever knew was possible. But the beauty of it is when we walk through that valley, we end up with divine neutrality. Divine neutrality is where everything becomes neutral and the judgments fall away. The separation is seen as why? It doesn't make sense anymore. It's kind of silly and ridiculous at times. Judgments, and the free spirit within, that breath spirit, emerges, and there is a profound relationship that starts to expand your consciousness. The breath itself will open up the superconscious mind, and you'll be in awe over how you'll find yourself feeling and the clarity. Now, to reside day after day like that means you have to back it up. You have to make some changes. You have to let go of the old and allow this, which is here, this gift of this energy in your breath is here now, asking you to return to source through the breath. It's possible. So these are their first, I'm going to try to teach you about divine forgiveness, and I'm going to share with you the journey of what that looks like. And then we're going to talk about divine neutrality. And then we're going to talk about the all-consuming violet flame. And what is that all about? What are these gifts that are here for all of us to bring about more peace? More peace within ourselves means more peace without, around. And the bigger expanded picture changes, because out of your eyes, you will no longer see the way you've been seeing it. I'm offering this to you. And if you're interested, you can go to soulawakeningproject.com, go on my website, and go to the page called The Way Home. And we're going to try to gather globally and breathe together once a month as a unified breath, focused, and then reaching that focus through the breath. Then we can, if we want, we can send our love, our divine love, anywhere we want. We can send our divine light anywhere we want. And your body starts to hold more light. Remember, we're all energy. And when I heard that first time, light quotient, I was like, what does that mean? I want more of it. That's all I knew. You know, it's kind of been a long journey. Been doing this breath work 31 years now. And I have been brought to a place where I'm discovering that the power of the breath, not a technique, any technique, but the power of what it really is. What is this gift? Everything breathes. We all breathe the same air. We all breathe the same air. At one time, that was okay with us. At one time, that was peace within us. And we were blessed to know that breath. So I'm going to take a second. And also, if you'd like to contact me, you can reach out for the email support@globalunifiedbreathing.com or soulawakeningproject@aol.com. That's also another one. And I'm just going to take a moment from one of the teachers, Rashid Field. I'm going to read just a real quick. Once upon a time, a new breath was born. When the world was very young, there was harmony. There was one rhythm, one breath, the breath of unity. The world turned once upon a time, but once upon a time, that one moment, a new rhythm evolved from the rhythm of harmony. A new breath was born. There came another sort of time upon the time of natural order. From the rhythm of God, there came the breath of man. Once upon a time. So there came about two rhythms, two breaths. The tension created by the two brought about the two great commandments. Love thy Lord, thy God. Love thy neighbor as thyself. There could be harmony once again, but mankind has never remembered. And so, at certain times of history, we are offered once again the chance to turn straight to our source, to take the path of return. We are offered the chance when things seem to be at their worst, when order has failed and chaos rules, when mankind has forgotten to love, when God has been forgotten. We return to the breath. Many blessings. I love you all. I hope you return and join me again to go on this beautiful journey that I've been on. I can't wait to share all the information, everything that's brought me to this moment, to be able to give to you from my heart to your heart. Thank you. Oop, that's my timer so I don't forget. Love you. Oh, I have a moment? Okay, so I guess I still have one more moment. Anyways, yeah. So it's a really beautiful journey, a very profound journey. If you're afraid to breathe, there's even more reason for you to breathe. If it sounds very unfamiliar and very weird, it is, and it can be, but it's worth breaking out, breaking free.